just love the drama.
Maybe few turns since winter fuel allowance.
Cut that.
Because loose lips, same chips.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
Listen, you're really making a mess here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're getting really cross with you.
The sticky patch came when the rest of the team's sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, boobs joke, hot wings.
He should be stood outside Hillsborough in the stocks having rotten fruit thrown at him.
The Wednesday week!
Put on your podcast!
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday week. My apologies if I do sound laboured today because, I'm still hungover, and I think 75% of the viewers that you're looking at right now will also be feeling in such a way. Joining me tonight, I've got Holly, I've got Stevie, I've got Beth. We've got a myriad of things to get through, so let's try and chew through it. Stevie, how are you feeling? How's the hangover?
Oh, Saturday were great, weren't it? It was such a long day. Made it back at, I think I got Molly at McDonald's at about 11:30 and slept and then went and played football Sunday morning, attempted to run around Sunday morning. Absolute hang, honestly, all over the place. And then I just felt sorry for myself all day yesterday, sat at the laptop for about 7 hours as well. It's been a tough 48 hours, but absolutely worth it to spend it with you guys.
We've got the comments live on screen as well if you do want to get involved. I've got them on autoplay, so you're going to have to play nice. Don't forget to like and subscribe and get yourselves involved and do all the bits that we're supposed to be doing. Beth, how was your weekend? All right, yeah?
Yeah, pretty good. I didn't watch the game, unfortunately. I've had the pleasure of watching it back on double speed this afternoon. But I had a good weekend, so I had one of those where I get to dodge the hangover. Like, I was pretty smashed on Saturday, but I woke up yesterday feeling fine. So I know the next one's going to be a stinker.
Pay for it twice.
H, how are you? Are you dying?
Yeah. I felt a bit better, I think. But do you know what? I had my eyebrows done today, and if we'd have lost, I'd have had angry eyebrows. So look at these bad boys. Thanks to Wednesday, I could have had the Chancery brows for the rest of the season.
Angry Chancery brows. I enjoy that. Now, I do need to start with some very sad news. As you know, the Wednesday week away days are normally truncated. They start by Pints and finish at Pop World. We only got 50% through that because we weren't allowed in Pop World because we weren't students and we didn't have ID. Now, that says a lot for our Botox people, H. You know what I mean? Well done to them. But we couldn't get in. And I sent a really, working in the game, I sent a really angry voice note to the area manager of the door company, which he replied to today. It's a good job he didn't reply, to be fair, at 12:30.
No, tell him what really happened. You did a "Don't you know who I am?"
Yep.
On the door.
Did he use the word talk sport at any point?
No. Do you know what?
Did you not see me at 5:00 on Thursday on Talk Sport?
Isn't it? Ridiculous. So Pop World's on my shit list. Right, let's get into it. Stevie, can I have a Jonologue version of the Grimsby game, please? Can you just give me a truncated version? We've got so much to get through, and a 1-0 defeat to Grimsby for the children in the cup is not high on my list of things to talk about this evening. However, you did
that happened.
Yeah, me and all. I just read our own tweet just before as the countdown was happening earlier on, so I've just realised that's happening. So all my notes are not ready yet. You did the watch along with Ash. Still good fun. How did you think it went?
The watch along or the game? The watch along was it was good. Do you know what? Let's get the serious stuff out of the way. It's been a lot of fun doing those, and it was always something that we said we weren't really bothered about doing because we like to go to the football. And the fact that we've not been able to go for whatever reason, or we've chosen not to go for whatever reason, has enabled us to do something that I think has resonated with a few people. I didn't realise that it's actually quite easy to talk to Ash for 2.5, 3 hours. And yeah, we enjoyed it. It's been good, and the feedback has been really, really positive. And if there's an opportunity going forward to look at doing something like that again, I'm sure that we'll do it. And yeah, as for the game, Grimsby was a little bit after the Lord Mayor's show. there was no surprise in terms of lineup. We were hopeful that we'd turn up and put in a bit of a performance, but given the fact that, you're not necessarily going to get yourself mentally and psychologically up for the game like you would have done against Leeds and all those sort of cliches around, being the giant killers, if you like. We were the ones there to be shot at. Grimsby came out, and I wouldn't say they did a number on us. I just thought it was a little bit of a damp squib, if you like, and the goal that they scored was quite fortunate, and it ended up, I don't know if it was attributed to Shipston's own goal, but it came off somebody's shoulder, went in, and from there we never looked like scoring, really, did we? So put it down and move on.
But they can celebrate the goal, but some of those boys that played have only legally been allowed to head the ball a couple of years ago.
That's it.
Shouldn't be allowed.
You wouldn't have thought that about Ernie Weaver, though, would you? The way he's been playing, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, it's been a good 90 minutes for those people, those players that have been blooding. The one thing I will say that it's remiss of me not to sort of mention, the young lad Yasser Allow came on after about 37 minutes. He was phenomenal. He was really, really good for the hour or so that he played. 16 years old. He's another one from the Will Granger. I can't wear a betting company on my shirt school of thought. I thought he came in on the left-hand side, and he didn't look like a 16-year-old. He put himself about, and you'd expect, because he was quite slight of frame, balls coming up in the air, you'd expect him to be able to head it away. And you'd expect him to lose the headers, but he was up there for somebody of his stature, winning challenges. He was putting himself back, getting up and down the field. That boy has got a bright future. He's going to be one of those that is potentially, all things being equal, in the next year to 18 months or so, he's going to be the next one that we're looking down the conveyor belt going, are we going to get a decent sort of sell on for him, or a decent bit of compensation for this lad? Because I think he's destined for bigger things. There's
a bit of excitement having to play these kids. It all feels like I was talking today to Stokey, who's been on this show, and I was chatting away with him, and he said there's like an excitement around the team, just like when Spur and Beavers and Thornley, when all those lads, McAllister came through the ranks, and just kind of there's that vibe, like who's good enough, who's gonna make the grade, that type of thing, which is quite fun. We've had a few comments come in. Izzy went with it was the press trying to say beating our under 15 was a giant killing. That was quite fun. And then obviously Matt Talbot, rightly so, don't care about the cup, the game that didn't bother me one bit, wanted to be knocked out the first round. The less money we give DC, the better. And Dunderbird has gone with Stevie wearing a shirt of Terry Curran as a WWE wrestler. So, there's that. It's Ravishing Rick Rude, I think you'll find. Or is it Jesse the Body Ventura? Who is it?
It's Ravishing Rick Rude. There he is.
Rick Rude. They all look like
in all his glory. Totally authentic.
I couldn't wear that man's physique on my own. You know what I mean? Every time I took my shirt off to go to bed at night, I'd be like, oh, like, you know what I mean? I'd be raging about it. So let's move on from Grimsby. It happened. We did a watch along. It was all good fun. Beth, I'll come to you in our pre-match thoughts to Portsmouth. We were going away to Portsmouth. Every game is going to be a tough one. What were your thoughts going into this?
As with the rest of them, absolutely no hope. I think it's a good Portsmouth side. They've built well on what they had last year, which was already a good season. Until I saw their lineup, I was like, they've got some incredible players that could really do a number on us, and we've got to go on a hell of a long drive, wake the kids up off the coach, and try and make them play some really big, nasty boys. They're like one of those big physical teams. They play the direct stuff really nicely, even though they are quite a smart side. And I was like, these poor boys. Yeah, I wasn't looking forward to it.
These poor young men. We've just had a comment from a Grimsby fan here saying, "Now then, guys, he's coming with his with his popcorn ready to go." I'm sorry, Ollie. We've skipped past it, brother. Congratulations, well done beating Manchester United. That was a better thing to do than beating us and then the children that we had playing. But congratulations getting into the round. No stink from my end. Okay. So we've got the boys. You're right, Beth. I was concerned about this one. This is the lineup that we went with: Horvath, Valerie, Weaver, Iorfa, Maxlow, Amas. Is it Amas or Amas? Have we decided that yet?
A mass.
Don't be ringing the Man United fans.
Yeah, can you just ping him a text message and find out if it's a mass or a mass? Because we need to get these things cleared up, because there was a lot of I don't care about Dejfon on Saturday as well, which can get in. And then we had Palmer, Ingleson, Bannon, Cadamartri and Bruni. That's not a bad little lineup. I thought that Valerie in the middle of the park was a turn up for the books. Kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to see that I don't want to upset Stevie, but that he saw what everybody else with eyeballs saw about Palmer in there and decided to try somebody else. And sort of, I've not been convinced by Otegbayo for this season at all. So slinging Weaver in sounded good to me, although like Beth, I was expecting absolutely zilch. I watched Portsmouth the other week. They were pretty good. A woman in the restaurant on Friday said Connor Chaplin was back and she was very excited about it, and I didn't want to know that. And yeah, so whilst the lineup looks kind of okay, I still didn't really expect anything.
Me neither. However, there was some surprising performances in there, notably from Ernie Weaver at the back, Stevie. The way he was marshalling that defence was genuinely impressive for such a young man. I think it was Holly said on the day that Iorfa doesn't look like the fizziest drink in the fridge and might need telling where to go and what to do. And what he needs is Ernie Weaver behind him going, breathe in, breathe out, say hello. You know what I mean? Left foot, right foot, that type of thing. And that's what he was doing, right?
Yeah, it was amazing to see somebody on his first league debut. His first league debut as opposed to his second league debut league debut. And it was the way that he was physically gesticulating and moving players. And, you know, you've got Maxlow, who's played in the Premier League on his left-hand side, and he's pulling him in. And you've got Iorfa, who's played 300-odd games for Sheffield Wednesday on the right-hand side, and he's getting him into shape. And he is, and I mean this with no disrespect, he is a throwback to a big 6'3", muscular, I'm going to head the ball, I'm going to kick the ball, I'm going to put my body on the line, I'm going to tackle. He's the kind of player that you and I would aspire to be in our relative levels. No nonsense, go get it done. And I think he did that throughout the 90 minutes. And as we'll come to, he marshalled that back line with a composure, an assuredness, a maturity that I think belied the fact that he was in for his first game. The kid's 18 years old. I'm not taking the mess when I say this. I've got kids at work that are older than him at the minute, you know,
and they're fucking idiots.
And they're the sort of, well, you said that, not me, but they're the sort of level that we're working, that, you know, that he's sort of operating at. For you forget how young he is, because he doesn't look like an 18-year-old. He certainly doesn't play like an 18-year-old. And I think after the League Cup games, we've been clamouring for it. Like Holly's just said, and I think we'd all agree, no disrespect to Otegbayo, I think he's played a lot of football without much fanfare, and he's not one necessarily to be heralded. As it stands at the moment, there's a place for him in the squad, but I think on merit, getting Weaver in there was justified, and he took his chance, and I think, yeah, absolutely, what a phenomenal way to make his debut.
I think Otegbayo is a bit like Iorfa, and with the right person at the side of him, he might be all right. But Weaver is that person, so one of them's got to go. And I think there were a period in the game of 10 or 15 minutes, although it felt like an hour, where Portsmouth were just continuously coming at us, and it were Weaver every single time, just absolutely like sending them back where they came from. Yeah,
up the kids. Wait, don't clip that. Right, so I've thrown myself. I tell you what,
I've got work tomorrow.
All the time. Every time the WSG bet, every time they do something good, I want to write something like "up the birds, up the women, up the girls." I've stopped myself saying that. I've stopped myself doing the same thing with the Rainbow Owls as well. But no, I plumped online to shout the other one, which seems worse somehow. Let's move on quickly. We've got Joe New Travis. He says, "Up the Owls from Turkey." What you having done, Joe? Let me know. Hit me up with some links. And Craig Hayward's gone, after 40 years of following football, I've realised I know nothing. Tweeted a Pompey fan and told him their keeper would need a deck chair on Saturday as we were useless up top. 1-2-0. Nice one. And then Matt Strickland doubling down, same here, Craig. No, nothing. Beth, you've got a Ernie Weaver statistic.
Yeah, I've been crunching the numbers today in more than one way. We might get some more numbers later.
Science.
But so Ernie Weaver has obviously got his first start in the league on Saturday. He's also got a cheeky 6 minutes against Bristol City the other week.
Lucky Ernie.
Conveniently forgotten about. But he's already topping the most clearances per 90 in the whole division. And big Dommy Orfer is in second. Now, our defensive, I went quite hard on our defensive stats today. They're cracking. Max Lowe also third most interceptions per 90. We lead that metric for the whole division, which the kind of undertone of all of this is that we're getting trounced.
I was going to say
game.
that means that we're facing
we're
a billion
getting
more
trounced.
shots than everyone else.
That's impressive, but it's also like when Kevin Pressman was winning the Carling Opta Index goalkeeping stats of the season. Is it because we're constantly under the cosh, which is why, you know what I mean, why they're racking them numbers up, which I kind of like. Don't worry about it. I'm all right with it. Right, then let's get into some of the match incidents. The first one, Holly, was Ingleson's diving header. How do you put that much pace behind a header? I was complaining to my mum the other week. I was going, why do we keep pushing these crosses onto the edge 18? Who's going to power one from the edge of 18? It's absolutely ridiculous noise. And as Fante comes in with his big sexy body, and look at that.
Well, I've watched that again. I mean, I've actually watched it for the first time today because whilst I thought I was being really smart and I made some notes during the game to refer back to, but having looked back on them, they were very much localized around the time I was eating a sausage roll that I bought at half time, and which was an excellent sausage roll.
Elite sausage rolls at Pompey, aren't they?
It was so good. But that appears to have taken my attention away from Ingleson's header. So I watched that for the first time today. And you're right, like that never happens. That never happens.
Yeah, it was a good stop as well. Really good save from the goalie.
But also Ingleson, like, does he tend to head the ball very often? Like, where did that come from?
What is it about Svante Ingleson on the South Coast? Because if we take him to Plymouth, he's slaying. If we take him to Portsmouth, he's slaying. When Southampton away, like, he's going to cook.
I honestly thought it was in. Now, one thing where I did think was in, Stevie, was when we got the free kick for Bannon's goal. I'm going straight into it. There was no part of me that thought this wasn't going to go in. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just thought, this will be 1-0 this, and it was.
We had this conversation, and I literally said exactly the same thing, didn't we? It just felt like the momentum was there, and the moment that he'd stepped up, there was just a feeling in the away end. And I know it sounds ridiculous, and there's no such thing as that sort of I don't know what you call it, that sort of fantasy sort of notion, but it just felt like Kismet, the stars had aligned, and the moment he stepped up to take that free kick, you knew it was coming. Somebody made a reference to the keeper having a deck chair. He might as well have had a deck chair when that, when the free kick was hit, because he didn't move. He looked in one direction, the ball went in another, and then he was off, wasn't he? And it was really nice to see everybody getting around him, followed him down to the, because he was down the other end of the pitch, wasn't he? And he's come all the way and ended up right in front of where we were, and giving it the badge and waving at everybody. Like he's not just giving it one or two, he's giving it to the entire fan base. And you can see that there was almost a release with it. It meant a lot for him to be able to do that. And I think he was good on Saturday. We've ended up putting him in for the man of the match, but I think he put in one of those performances that made me feel like he was a leader amongst that team, and we needed it, and he was due it. And it set us up for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it definitely set the tone. Beth, did you feel like we were going to see this out? Did you feel like we were going to be all right going into half time? Because none of us had any idea.
When you watch it back on double speed, and you know what happens at the end. It's kind of really hard to get a feel for the vibes.
Beth, I've been doing this show a long time. Watching football back after the event, after the euphoria's died down or it's ruined your weekend, is a thankless task. It's crap.
Just do it on double speed. Oh, I should have sent you the picture. I had my work. Do you know that you're going to take the piss out of me for being young again here? But do you know those TikToks where it's a guy?
No, tell us more about those.
What is this TikTok you speak of?
Yes. Stevie's 11-year-old daughter was trying to tell us about something about sixes and sevens that she couldn't articulate into why it was entertaining or fun. She just did this and said 6-7, and apparently that's entertaining for children.
See, I can't do that bit, but on TikTok, I get quite a lot of those things where it's like there'll be a guy telling a story at the top, but everyone's like cooked attention span. There's a guy playing Temple Run at the bottom. Yep. So you can watch the Temple Run while there's a story. So I was doing my work today and I split my monitor. So I had the double speed game on one side and my
somebody chopping up some foam on the other. You know what I mean? Shaving foam or steam cleaning a rug.
So I watched the game as a Temple Run TikTok. So vibes are not going to be my strong point tonight.
I have to say, in the ground, I mean, Izzy's just put, I still think we might not win when she watches it back. But I think everybody sort of really celebrated it because we didn't expect anything. And then kind of went, well, we've had something to celebrate, so it don't matter whatever happens now. And everybody sort of thought we were still going to get beat, but we scored. It was only when we scored the second that everybody were like, right, how long's left now? End the game.
We got to half time each, and I was sat there thinking, well, just like that, we've had a good time, we've been all right. And then I said to Stevie, I'll meet you inside, I'm going to go for a quick pee. And then there's a wonderful thing happens at away days in men's toilets, ladies, and I need to bring you in on this because it's really fun for me. You walk in, and if it's got a good enough crowd in there, and somebody decided a long time ago that we're all just going to stand out with our willies out, stood next to each other, trying to avoid a geezer who's spraying. And when you're at a football away day, a man will walk in and in a really Yorkshire accent go, "Hey up, there's some big willies in here, isn't there?" And everybody goes, "Way!" I don't know why that happens. And a geezer kept walking and went, "Hey up!" And I thought, "Here we go, lads, here we go." He went, "We've only bloody scored." And I went, "What?" And everybody's now like trying to shake one off and zip it up to do what? I mean, it's not like there's any replays at live football, but we were, you know what I mean? But I couldn't understand. Like I didn't see it. I was peeing. Oh, did you see it, Stevie?
Yeah. Ball over the top. It's been hoof long. One of those away, you know, those knocks away. And Brown, who was excellent as well, chased everything down. Thankless task, and both of them. And it's been for the last sort of 2 or 3 games, we've had lads up top that have been largely, not everybody. We talked about that last week. Chasing things down and giving 100%.
Yeah.
Put the pressure on. The lad pulled up, and there's a bone of contention, which may or may not, if you haven't got one, could be a hot topic for tonight. But was it the right thing for him to do to play on when the lad went down injured? And then Brown. But do you know what? He's carried on. And I couldn't tell you, with the greatest respect, I'm assuming he's left-footed. I didn't know. Sorry, I should know. I didn't know if he's left-footed or right-footed. But the way
you've watched him more than I have, mate.
the way he's finished it, there was that momentary sort of hesitation where he's kind of gone one-on-one with the goalkeeper, but it wasn't straight on. It was at an angle. So, the angles are going to be quite tight, which means he's got less space to sort of to go for. He's ended up dipping it over the goalkeeper and through him at the same time, if that makes sense. There was some bend on the ball, and the finish will go down as being absolutely underrated. To say that's his first start.
There's still some work to do there, isn't there?
Yeah. To say that's his first start. He's coming. We are where we are. He's playing in front of 20,000 people, and I mean, there's 20,000 people, but there's a band of away fans and a full sort of stadium around him. For him to go and do what he did was absolutely outstanding. If he can go and kick on from there, by God, good luck to him.
That's one of them where when he breaks through and he realizes that guy's not breathing down his neck anymore, it's kind of so easy that it makes it like, it's like when you 1-on-1 and then the goal goes, and then you think, shit, this is so easy that if I fuck this up. But his little his little cocky swagger behind goal when he like looked at fans. Oh my God, I loved it so much. It was brilliant.
There is no sympathy for that Portsmouth defender, unsurprisingly, in our comments right now. So Slappy Gilmore, all's fair in love and relegation battles. Craig's gone with 100% yes, play on. It's not head injury. Play to the whistle, great finish. Get Brown on it, which was the song played, which is going to be the new Daddy Cool for this season until he turns.
Listen, like on a different day, their player don't pull up. On a different day, that free kick goes into sky. But the planets just all aligned, didn't they?
Yeah, it reminded me of that goal that McNeil scored against Hull City, actually, where he's just gone, "I sod this," and just ballooned it into the top bins. I tell you what, let's take a quick advert break.
Hold tight, kids, it's advert time. Hold tight, kids, it's advert time.
So welcome back. We're going to get into some statistics where they've battered us. We've got. Did I just see a comment from Sheffield Wednesday, España? Hola, como estas? Me llamo Inigo Montoya. Hey, see, I don't normally get the opportunity to say that. You know what I mean? That's all right. Beth, where are we? What we're talking about? Statistics. That's it. So they battered us. Looking at that, we are second best in shots, possession, passes, pass accuracy, fouls, yellow cards, and corners. They had enough chances to win it, but Horvath seemed to impress but terrify at the same time.
That's not the stat where we're doing really well. Oh my God, I didn't write it down. We're making loads of saves. We're making the most saves per 90. So I don't know. Obviously, Horvath had that fantastic kind of. Was it Leeds? No, he played at Wrexham, didn't he? He had a stinker at Wrexham, and then he had a worldie against Leeds. And I think that was kind of the review from Cardiff, is that it's up and down, it's a wave. And I'm still not convinced by him kind of on like a sight check. Like, I don't feel mega confident when someone's coming towards him.
Did you say sight check? That's a very posh way of saying the eye test. Is that the same thing?
That's what I meant. I've got a migraine.
Sight check. Look how fancy we are on Wednesday week.
So yeah, he makes me nervous, but the numbers don't lie, man. Maybe he's good.
Yeah. The stats are just like Shakira's hips. It was poor from Portsmouth, wasn't it, Stevie? You know what I mean? I don't think they particularly were outstanding. I thought there were moments in which they could have got one, but you know, there was a couple of good saves, and there was one where I think their striker got caught offside, and he should have hit the target. Like they were just having a really off day, weren't
they? You could argue they were having an off day. I think Mousinho's come out and said that he feels that they've underestimated Wednesday and they were a little bit complacent. I wouldn't disagree with that necessarily. And you'd hope that other people are going to come into games against us, certainly in the next few weeks, with the same sort of mindset. But yeah, whilst as poor as they were, we were bloody good. And I've got this I've got this theory, this notion that we're going to be a lot better away from home, particularly in tight little grounds like that, where we can get the away fans that are, you know, behind us and being that stereotypical 12-man. I think to focus on the Portsmouth performance does our boys a little bit of a disservice, if I'm honest with you, Dan. I think we, you know, even though the stats would suggest that we were second best, you know, like Ash has just put, and I know we've just put the comment up on the screen, there's only one stat that matters, and we scored more goals than them. And despite everything else that we're looking at, I think we were worthy of 3 points, and I don't think they'd argue with that. So it is what it is.
I agree. I'm not a stats guy, but yes, there is only one stat that matters, and the eye test or the sight exam or whatever we put for. I enjoyed it.
There was a lot to be said for that double save that Horvath made, the scooper where he.
Yes.
How did he?
Stephen, did you describe that as George Banks-esque in the pub? Who was it said that?
It might have been Neil that said that.
Yeah,
was it?
I wouldn't use Banks.
The Banks down to the right, and then the flick up over. Absolutely incredible. Horvath had a good game. I think there was a couple that he could have held on to, but I felt like Horvath had a really good game, and it's nice to see a fella who's been literally chucked into the deepest of all the ends and gone, sort that out, kid.
Yeah, can you imagine somebody asking him if he wanted to come to Wednesday? They must have told him nothing else. And don't look it up. Don't look them up. Just say yes.
Just say yeah. They're going to pay.
Asked him while he was asleep. If you agree, say nothing. Right, it's agreed.
I think somebody's put in the last man standing chat a graphic of the team of the week, and he's in that, isn't he?
Wow, is he?
He's made a team. There was something. I'm sure it was the last man standing chat. He was in the team of the week with Weaver, and Pedersen got manager of the week on one of the online sort of platforms based on his stats. It wasn't just him though, was it? I think there was a point in the first half where I've turned to, it was either you, Dan, or Molly, and went, look, we don't defend like this at home, and they're literally players throwing their bodies on the line to get in front of shots, to stick their head on the ball, and the bits that we miss at home where there just seems to be a little bit of a malaise with everything that we're doing. It was 100% effort. It wasn't talent, it was effort, and we were in the right place at the right time on Saturday.
I'm getting Gordon Banks said a lot in the comments. Did I say Jeff Banks, the guy from the clothes show who designed the 1998 to 2001 Redcoats? Did I say Jeff? I meant Gordon, but I hope I said Gordon Banks. I don't want to rewind it. I don't want to take a look. Okay, so Sheffield Wednesday came out 2-0 winner. Sheffield United still remain bottom after the return of the Wildebeest. Did not go well for them against Charlton. So Sheffield football is still in the mud. Yay. I don't know how to move on from that. So listen, this week, Beth, has been a big week for the WSG. It's been a big week for the protests, and everything's moved forward. And you organised. In fact, I don't want to truncate it. You tell me about what it was.
So on Wednesday last week, the Women's Supporters Group hosted Christine Seddon for a little online workshop and seminar. Christine is the former chair of Blackpool Supporters Trust, and she was the big lady in charge when they did their 4-year boycott of the club, alongside loads of other protest activity to get rid of the Oystons. So I met Christine almost like bang on a year ago when we were doing a meeting with Lisa Nandy for the FSA, and she dropped me a text the other week just being like, "Are you guys all right?" And I was like, "No." And she kind of mentioned that not long after Blackpool finally had their takeover, that she'd come to Port Vale and to not Rochester, Oldham. I'd get slaughtered. That's this side of the Pennines for that. But we spoke. She spoke to Port Vale and to Oldham fans about boycotting and about kind of resistance against owners. She was like, "Would you like us to do one of those?" And I was like, "Yes, please." So we had a little kind of back and forth about kind of the Blackpool story, places where we align and where we don't align, and then just kind of opened it up to some pre-submitted questions. We talked about all the ins and outs bits, really. We talked mostly about boycotting, because I think that is the source of contention right now. That's a bit that people aren't wholly comfortable with, and then a little bit about alternative modes of transport, modes of protest, and togetherness as well, and vibes. It was great.
I'll tell you what. We've got some clips lined up, and we'll play them. They're not pretty lengthy; they're only a minute and a half. But I wanted to play some of these because there was a few things that I took away from it that I was really interested in. The first one being how long it took for the Blackpool. That chairman was hanging on for dear life for about 5 years, 4.5, 5 years or something, and nobody wanted him there. The stadium's empty, which goes to show that the money in football, even if no one's turning up, can still make you money. You know what I mean? And I feel like that was interesting. So let's get onto the first topic here.
Because of all the individuals, the little people, if you like, who just stood up for what was right day after day and just refused to give up. And it was, for us, it was about communicating that you might not be part of the trust, or in the war room, so to speak. You might not be hearing every day the different things that are going on, although we did try to communicate as much news as possible to keep people interested in what was happening. But we made it clear that just staying away, just doing your bit is the biggest thing that you can do, and hold the line. Don't be tempted to give in. Just don't. Just keep going. And I think people started to feel part of this much bigger thing, something that was bigger than them. And I think, when you really love your club and you can see what is happening to it and what's being done to it. And also, of course, I think the fact that our owners were like pantomime villains and they were laughing at us. They really were laughing at us. If that doesn't get you back up, I don't know what will. And for the majority of Blackpool fans, it did get the backs up.
I found that absolutely fascinating in reference to the little people, as she says it. She says it in a, you know what I mean? She didn't say it in a derogatory way. But there were two things that I took away from there. How much you can affect it on your own. And there's also a bit in there about not everybody's got the same access to the information as you have. And so you have to be patient and the word gets around and stuff like that. Holly, I think we spoke about it, didn't we? About that type of thing, about not everybody, no one's ready for the conversation yet. We seem to be focusing on the people that are still going rather than the successes that we've had. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think I will say this, it's very, very good. And if you haven't already watched it, I would absolutely recommend watching it. She's very blunt about some of the stuff, but she also said that you fight a war on lots of fronts, and it's not just the one way that somebody decides to do it is the way. There's lots of different ways to do things. So, and like you say, she did also point out, while she's very, very staunch on protesting, she did also point out that the success is how many people didn't go, not how many people went. And I think when I went to Blackpool, there was basically nobody in the stand. But that was at the end point of that, not at the start. So when our fans think that we've been in this for a long while, it's been about 3 months. Whereas for them, it was like a really long time. So the expectation of us to be at that point now is not really relative to what we've got compared to them. But I would absolutely recommend for anybody to listen to it. It's very, very good. Thank you very much, Beth, for sorting that out.
If you look in the comments right now, the link to the whole thing is down. I'm going to play three more clips. And Beth, don't be afraid to chirp in. I know I can harp on, and you should hear Stevie when he gets going. 4-minute answer last week. I don't know if you saw the video, but there was. Stevie just woke up catching strays. I woke up really early and made a video of him. I tell you what, there was also some chat last week, and I mentioned it on last week's show about storming the pitch. And Christine, this is what she had to say about
one in the chat from David that we'll start with. So there are a lot of people advocating storming the pitch and stopping the games. Would you advise against that as it loses the higher ground?
Yes, but probably I would advise that, simply because you are inviting criticism. You are basically breaking rules by doing that. I'm saying that even though it did actually happen at Blackpool and it was quite an event, and it really sort of started things off. But I do remember I'd only just started speaking for the trust at the time, and media people were literally queuing up to stick the boot in to say why you shouldn't have done that, and it was irresponsible, and it was this, that, and the other. And I was speaking for the trust, and we hadn't actually, it wasn't our thing, but obviously we knew about it. So I understand the desire for something big, for something to really grab the headlines. But I just think that particularly now with the way regulations are and health and safety, they can get you on so many different angles from doing that. You could actually set yourself back. You need to take people with you. You need people on side, not just the fans, but the authorities, your local councillors and your community, anybody that you want to help you in the long term. You've got to keep them on side, and I'm afraid that doing something like that won't go down very well. So personally,
that was really well put in terms of talking about why storming the pitch isn't the answer. And I know everybody's angry and I know everybody wants to do something, but that specifically, Beth, she mentioned about the high ground, and she mentioned about the sanctions that the EFL will put on the club itself. I found that a really interesting point.
Absolutely. I think there's something about storming the pitch that to football fans feels
Oh,
cathartic.
it's like forbidden fruit. It's what's behind the curtain. We all want to get on there.
When you've just done your promotion, when you've done this, it's catharsis. It's letting your emotions out. So I see completely why football fans want storm pitches to show their discontent as much as they do their content. It's the things that you love in football, you express the same way as the things you hate. Sorry to get all philosophical. You sing about it. You make banners. You do all these things. But I think that catharsis backfires. And if we're going to run on the pitch to be cathartic when we're happy, it stuffed us at Peterborough. It'll stuff us here. It does erode that moral high ground and reduces the kind of credibility and respect. And I don't know if this is going to be a hot take, but I don't think it's appropriate for us. You know, the big thing about storming the pitch is that it gets you in the news. I think we've been really lucky as Sheffield Wednesday to have the coverage that we've had of this crisis so far, when Reading and Morecambe and probably Blackpool at this point, and so many other of the clubs further down the pyramid have had real struggles to get their clubs in the news and be considered kind of newsworthy. We're not there yet. I don't think we need to storm the pitch. We don't need people to look at us. Granted, we're not on Sky Sports every morning, day, night, but we've had some really thoughtful, good coverage. And again, if the trust, if sports groups, if whatever fan bodies arise or don't arise over the next few months, if we want to do things the right way, that's not the right way. And I think a lot, slightly tangential, but I think a lot running a supporters group, that we need to model the change that we want to see in the club. We need to take our high ground there as well. We need to be really professional. We need to speak to the chairman, unfortunately, how we wish he'd speak to us. Like, any point to undermine the movement as it is undermines the whole thing, undermines the whole message, and probably does set us back. Sorry for my little monologue, but it's something.
It's all right. It's all right. I'll make a video next week, Stevie. Don't worry about it. There's something here from Matt, and I want to come across the tough questions as well, Beth. My apologies if I'm putting you on the spot. It says Peterborough's different. We got to Wembley. That's totally different. That's a different type of pitch invasion, isn't it? I don't feel like
I'm talking more about the language of football. It's a cathartic emotion when you storm the pitch. It's because something is overwhelming and crazy. That's the complete other end of the spectrum than a protest. But I think it comes from a similar, if not identical, place. But I'm getting a bit philosophical for a minute.
I know what you mean.
I just quickly, you went on the pitch, Dan, against Peterborough.
Oh yeah.
I went on the pitch against Peterborough. 20,000 odd people hit the pitch at Peterborough. I understand Matt's point. I get it in terms of that pitch invasion. And I don't know if there was a comment that he misconstrued or something that was said, because I think I caught that as well, that it felt almost like we were saying under no circumstances. I don't think that was the message that was being sort of relayed there. I think when we're talking about that thin line between love and hate, if you like, you know, on this side, there's the euphoria, it's all good natured, it's where we want to be, and everybody's involved and we're all there for a purpose. Whereas, you know, when we're talking about it, we're talking about the reason behind it. We didn't stop a game going on the pitch at Peterborough. We went there at full time to celebrate and be part of something. Whereas it's not a celebration. We're not talking about that. And I'm going to choose my words carefully, because the response from some people who will be militant will say, well, how else do we do it? We've got to raise awareness. We're going to get relegated anyway, so it doesn't matter about any point deductions, etc., etc., etc. It was conversation for another time. I think the bit I was unfortunate enough not to be able to listen to I was working, so I didn't get a chance to see the session last week, but I will be watching it back. The thing that I've taken from that is no good can come, or not saying no good can come from it, but it would be counterproductive in the context that we're considering doing it, because it would be divisive of the people and the bodies that we're trying to get to unite behind us, if that makes sense.
That's the best way of putting it, counterproductive to what we're trying to achieve. And there's a lot of people in the comments saying that they don't want to give Chancery any kind of moral high ground over us as well, which I completely agree with. Now, Stevie, this one, I've left this one for you, and I'm sorry again if I'm putting you on the spot. You know, that's live TV, folks. But I wanted to talk about this one because I know this is going to be something close to your heart.
Very important, though. Whatever you do decide to do, you have to do it the right way. And without trying to sound holier than thou, you need to, at all times, maintain the moral high ground. You need to, yes, you can be outspoken, but don't be abusive. Say people, you can't take everybody with you, so accept that and let them go if they won't go with you. Don't start, turning it into Arthur Scargill and the Miners' Strike and scabs and all of that, because that will absolutely backfire. So that's not a good, that is not a good route to go. You just, as I said earlier, you lead by example. You do what you believe is the right thing, and you will be amazed how many people will respond to that and will go with it, because you are setting that good example and showing that you're in this for the right reasons, and what you are doing is a hard thing to do, but you're doing it for the right reasons and in the right way. One of the toughest things I've ever had to do, but it was also one of the most inspiring and at times quite exciting as well, because I never doubted for a minute that what we were doing was the right thing, and that's how it worked out. So you obviously have to all do what you think is right, but never ever be afraid to just stand up and say, we've had enough and we are going to take this one step further, because that is what will really, really count.
That one, sorry about the silence there. There's just a little graphic at the end of the video that I forgot was there. That one was an important one for me. And Stevie, I'll come to you first about it. This calling each other scabs, and you can't take everybody with you. And it's something that we spoke about before, about not everybody's got the same access to information to you. Like, Jim and Rob at the 1867 group couldn't really talk about the information that they knew when they started out. So a lot of it was, hey, come and join us, follow us. But, I can't really tell you what I can't really tell you what it is. And I get it. I completely understood what they were doing, and they needed you to blind trust them for a bit. And then now, since all this information has come out, they were right at the start. You know what I mean? And a lot of us have got egg on our face. Don't get me wrong. But now to try and turn on our own, for people who don't have the same access to the same information that we have, isn't the way to go, is it?
No, absolutely not. And I don't think social media does us any favors on whatever sort of medium and whatever mechanism you're using it for, whether that be because you are, and this is going to sound like a dig, and it's not, whether if you're part of a podcast or you're part of a group that is using social media as a platform to raise your profile, you're going to use social media to raise your profile, and that can be divisive within itself. We will say and do things, and we will push things. Other podcasts will do the same. It's not about that. None of this is about, you're either with you're one side or another. At the end of the day, whatever angle you're coming at it from, we are all here for a common interest. I will defy anyone, anybody, anywhere. You could go and ask 100 Sheffield Wednesday fans, 1,000, 10,000 Sheffield Wednesday fans. Not one person wants the current regime to continue in the way that it is. Not one person would be an advocate for Dave Bonchansiri remaining as the chairman of the club. We all want the same thing. We do. All right. And it was putting me on the spot a little bit. That clip there, I've taken listening to that for the first time, that there is a common cause here, a common sort of end game here, if you like. And that common end game is to get to a point where we can go to the football with paying a fair price to watch competitive football with our family and our loved ones, and not feel like we're being shafted by somebody who is, blinkered. He's gone away from everything that he said he would stand for when he came in at the beginning of the process in terms of taking the club on. We're so far down the line with it now, but people will make their choices in terms of the way that they want to boycott and the things that they want to say and the things that they want to do. I choose to communicate in a certain way. I choose to say the things that I do in the way that I do, which is very different to the way that Dan will speak. And it's very different to the way that people in our Last Man Standing chat will speak. And it's very different to the people that I speak to day to day, because you have to, you are who you are as a human being. You know the way that you do those things. The way that we're approaching these protests is very similar. Okay, why do we do what we do in terms of going to the game? We go because at the moment we're paying. We've had this conversation over and over again. The season tickets the sale of season tickets will drop like you wouldn't believe if he's still here in November, December. And I would be surprised if we're talking in the tens of thousands of people that are buying. We're talking 4 figures max, and they will do it for a specific reason. And it won't be to fund Ape on Chancery. And if they have their reasons to do it, I won't be doing it. If I did, I would, I'd say one way or another. If they want to do what they want to do, then that's entirely on them. But they want Chancery to go, and they might have their reasons. So, instead of getting after the people that want to approach the same thing in a different way, it's if I want to get to work and I want to get down the A1 rather than the M18. So what? It's the end game, isn't it? We're getting to the same point at the end of the day. Yeah. Let's just support each other in the right way and cut out this nonsense where you're one of them and you're not one of these. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing. And I know that I'm going to catch some pelters. People are going to get after me for saying that I'm a sympathizer, I'm this, that, and the other. I'm not at all. But I understand and I empathize with the people that are making the choices that they're making. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing. And there, even now, is nothing to prove. You talk about, and I'll say this last bit and then I'll shut up. We talk about it a lot. Not buying at the ground is a really contentious thing. But at the end of the day, how many people do we know has that cost? Because of the closure of kiosks, the lack of sales. There are people that are on casual contracts there that aren't getting paid. Yeah, but it's a necessary evil. Yeah, all right, it's a necessary evil.
However, that in the video.
She does bring that up in that video. Yeah, it's an interesting.
It's a necessary evil to being said by people that aren't in that situation, because those people, whatever level they're at, still have to pay their bills and they still have to get a wage and so on and so forth. I'm not going to comment any further because I've had another Harry Amass rant, and I'm going to let Beth speak for a bit. But I've got real strong feelings about those people that I want to empathise with as well.
Yeah, I if you just indulge me out for a second, Beth here. So Matt Talmott put a comment in there, and he's been teasing it for a couple of weeks now. He's got some factual information about DC that she'll release when he goes finance-wise, which Matt, can you DM me as soon as he goes, like that second? I'll send you my number, whatever time of night it is, because we know that DC likes a late night. I'm so excited about it. I don't know why. But there's also, I received a message today from one of our listeners, and it's quite a lengthy one, and it's a guy who's doing some work at someone's house, and they work in the kiosks at the weekend, and they got called by some of our fans scabs, even though they work there. You know what I mean? That's not cricket. No, can we not do that? We're better than that. And once education comes in, and when I say education, I don't mean educate yourselves. I mean once more information comes out and it gets released in the right way, and we are protesting in the right way that's palpable for as many people as possible, then people will follow. That's when it'll happen. Go on, Beth. My apologies. I'll let you wrap that up.
No, it's okay. I'm kind of shocked that workers are being called scabs. That's nice. With the same logic, we should call the players scabs and Henrik. Where was I? I feel like I get a bit of a reputation. I've put a reputation on myself on this podcast, being a bit away with the fairies sometimes and going off on a tangent and talking about nuance too much. But I think with this one, this is really simple. Like the boycott, it's literally us and even them in this case, just him. And I think the boiling down to scabs and whatever, it's eroding that. I sent down a little graphic, if I could please have it, just because I think people thought, I don't know, I had this perception that people thought our boycott wasn't going well. People weren't doing enough. People seem really angry about how many people aren't going. So I had a look at the 4 years that Blackpool were boycotting. So if you think Bloomfield Road has an attendance of, let me grab it, 17,338. If we look at the point where they had the worst attendances there, so 16-17 League 2, around 3K. I'm not much of a mathematician, but my I'm about to get told this is all wrong, I know. But my vague calculations are that is 19%, around 19%. And if we're going to
that's what Bloomfield Road went down to.
Yeah.
Right. And that includes the away fans. So like when we played there or whatever, they'll still
You can see where I'm going. You can see where I'm going.
Yeah.
So the BBC reported our Leeds attendance as 7,801. I'm not going to count Grimsby because that I can't get my head around that away end and how it works. But Leeds, 7,801. That's a Yorkshire derby with cheap tickets, whatever. If you think of the Hillsborough capacity, another source of contention. But Google it. It tells me it's 34,835, which is around 22% of the stadium. Please don't tell me my maths is wrong. I'm trying to cook. So if you think that we're getting just over 20% for a cup game against Leeds, we're not going full boycott. We're not going every game yet. Blackpool went every game, and they've got their average attendance for that season as a very similar percentage of what we're getting when we're chilling and just doing it for the cup. The boycott is going well, so there is no point in the infighting. It's fracturing the movement. It's fracturing relationships. That granted, we're all still going to be here after Chancery. Like, let's look after each other because it's shit.
It is shit.
There was also there was a brilliant part of the thing with Christine where she talked about what it was like when they got the club back, and it was and her talking about that. Go on, sorry.
No, I was agreeing with you. I was remembering that moment, and I was going oof. And then the bit where they went to Wembley and she didn't take her mum.
Yes, so that she talked. She obviously, like I said before, she's quite tough on her own stance on the boycott. She didn't take her mum. A lot of them missed out on Wembley and things. But she's, whilst talking about that, still focused on, like Beth says, about how successful that was rather than not getting every single person. But when she talked about getting the club back and what it was like, they walked from town down to the ground all together because everybody wanted to go in together, and how much of a relief it felt for them all to be together. But you only get that togetherness if you actually breed the togetherness whilst you're in it. So
yeah,
if we get the club back from Chancery at whatever point that is, we only get that back as a collective if we start that now rather than on the day going, are we all friends again, right? Like,
yeah, let's not do any I work in hospitality, and we also, I keep running into people I've had a tear up with over the years, and it's going to be like that in like a petri dish at Hillsborough. And we all go back, all right, like
you and
Steve
that guy at
Bruce
Portsmouth now.
You know full well I'm going to end up back in that guy's life at some point. I can tell you, it's going to happen. Beth, thank you so much for clipping those videos. If you do get the opportunity to watch that, watch it. There is some good information on how to conduct ourselves. There's some good information on what worked. And I think somebody asked, was it yourself, Beth, that asked what didn't go well? You know what I mean? And things like that. Let's learn from their mistakes. But we also need to prepare ourselves for the fact that this could go on for a bit longer than what we thought. However, we have the regulator coming in, and Blackpool didn't have that. You know, we had a couple of comments along the lines of, I don't think we'll get relegated. We'll have a new chairman before January, and we will beat the relegation battle. You heard it here, lol. The lol at the end is doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. And then
on that point, before you move on, I'm just going to put Beth on record for what she said in the chat about if we stayed up.
What did I...
What? Sorry, Beth. Are you showing your ass in Woolworths windows or something?
Just the women's supporters group chat. If we stay up, I've agreed to get a Henrik Peterson tattoo.
Get in. Big fan of that. Big fan of that. And then Slappy Gilmore's been Slappy Gilmore.
At the weekend as well. What did I say? I think it was that if us and Sheffield United both go up, do you know the Berlin Wall where it's the two politicians kissing? I'll get Wilder and Henrik.
Do you know what? I'd enjoy that. I'd enjoy that. And then Slappy Gilmore has been Slappy Gilmore, and he said, I think the 3,000 attendance from Blackpool may have just been when they re-signed Gary Taylor-Fletcher. Just saying. And then if you get the opportunity to read Matt Talbot's last comment, that's an absolute Bobby Dazzler on Twitter. Let's have some adverts. So, Beth, thank you for bringing that in. I want to get back to the silliness now. We are the light-hearted one, and I appreciate, we had some tough questions there, and I'm glad we answered them because we're really good and measured like that. That's what we are. Stevie, let's talk about some gambling.
Last man standing, who survived? Fantasy League keeps dreams alive. And when there's something shiny new, Stevie's first to see it through. So place your bets, come join the play. Our gambling man will lead the way.
Oh.
I realised that we've stuck this section on for me, and I've like gone, yeah, this is going to be great, and I want to do it every week, but I don't want to talk about fantasy football because I'm fucking shit.
Are you shit at it again? Are you shit at it again? Tell us
My
where you
God.
shit, Steve. You only tell us about the
God, we'll do EFL first. EFL, yeah, Ellie's still floating about. I'm rubbish. Gone down to 9th this week. Heathens.
You get in
top
there
of
and
the
make
league.
it about yourself, Stevie. You get in there.
Yeah, it's all about me. FPL, we'll do FPL. Jack Ellis 2nd, and there's John Wakefield's up there as well, isn't he? And Izzy spent the day with Izzy on Saturday. Cheeky little rise up into the top 10 with her 75 points. Didn't tell me how she'd done it when we were having a burger at lunchtime, did she?
I would imagine she's got no idea.
Not a clue. Somebody else has done it for her. And then finally, we've got Tipple. Our mates at Tipple are in. Yeah, so again,
are we the bottom two there, Stevie? Are we the bottom two?
We are. We're bottom 2 on the clip on the league that I've clipped. I'm about. I don't know. We've got about 34 in this league. Ash is up there in 6th with 65 points. I've had enough of Tipple as well. And they can clip that. I know that they've been in our DMs going, oh, I really like that bit where Stevie said he had enough of Tipple. Tipple, I've had enough of you. Anyway.
Izzy's just put, I know nothing. I just choose names I like. So that's the secret.
We're thinking about
that's
it
the
too.
Science. Last one, the big one for this week. If you haven't already seen it, you've not been on our socials. Friday is the cut-off for anybody wanting to join our Last Man Standing 7. As a quick reminder, we finished up not last weekend, the weekend before, with the jackpot going at just over £1,000 to good old Ben Leonard. It's £10 to enter on the first round through. Yeah, I hate him. £10 to enter on the first round through. The more people that enter, the bigger the prize will be. All the information is on the graphics. It's pinned on our X. It's in our messages on Instagram and on Meta and so forth. So please have a look. Get in touch with us if you're not sure. The WhatsApp group's great. We're great. Yeah, it's all there. Look, I've got to do it that way. Yeah, up there.
Thanks, man.
Up there. Click that QR code.
Man.
Yeah, get it done on the QR code. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I've not said that tonight either. But yeah, Last Man Standing starts this weekend. If we can get up round 1 before a rollover, par is around about 400 or 500 quid. So if you fancy 400 or 500 quid and a bit more of us, then get involved with that.
Okay, just to get a bit serious here, Matt's put a wonderful comment in the comments there, and I kind of want to make reference to it based on what you were just saying there, Stevie. And I know this is going to be a weird segue, but Matt says thanks for these podcasts. They make my week. I've suffered mental health, and this podcast cheers me up. Matt, I love out like that. Genuinely, I really do. And the Last Man Standing specifically comes with its own group chat. And if you are feeling pony, by all means, give us a message. You know what I mean? I've got a plethora of terrible jokes that I could send, and some of them you're not allowed to screen grab because I've got a budding media career to try and get over the line here. But listen, honestly, if you the Last Man Standing, if you do get involved, it is really fun.
Can I
Speaking
just
of budding,
say one last? Sorry,
that
sorry.
was going to be a rocking segue, and you fucked it. But go on.
Sorry, mate. I love you. For those of you that are wanting to get involved, it isn't just us talking at you. Everybody that you see on these comments down here. So Matt, Slappy Gilmore, there's one or two Stu's in there as well. They all sort of drive it. You'll get messages at 4 a.m. from America, so mute it.
Make sure you mute it.
Craig Haywood's just jumped on. It's a brilliant group. It'd be remiss of me to try and mention everybody that's in there that are part of the Sheffield Wednesday online community. But there are a lot of people with some familiar names that do all the driving. We turn up and every now and again just do a little bit of moderating. But that group is a community for the people, by the people, for the people.
I love it. I love it. Don't forget, it is on the QR code on the screen right now. But speaking of budding media careers, I was asked to be part of a game show. I've been on the fence of whether to share it or tell anybody about it on the socials, because it was for the Sun newspaper. However, it was quite fun. It was quite well mannered, and they paid me for it. So I took their money to do some damn fudge jokes. So that's where I kind of justified it a little bit. But here's this.
All you've got is the past, distant past. Two rival fans.
Without us, there'd have been no Sheffield United.
You couldn't live up to the Blades nickname.
5 rounds of fierce debate.
No competition in terms of fan base.
We can move to San Diego and we'll still get 40,000 people there every week.
Bragging rights up for grabs.
Premier League was inducted in 1992. We've done 8 seasons in there. You've only done 6.
In terms of what you've done in the last 20 years, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Each player must use their time wisely before whacking their big red button to pile the pressure on their opponent.
3 caps, 1 goal, 33%, 1 in 3 England record. Not many beat that.
You're playing teams like Stevenage and Peterborough. We're going up against dominant sides like Sunderland.
Best of 5, winner takes all. This is Sunsport Stoppage Time.
It was quite fun.
The thing about that is when he says, "What have you done in the last 20 years?" Nothing. It's a bit personal, that, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it?
Won at Wembley. Scored at Wembley.
Yeah, did a win at Wembley. I think I do get that in. I must admit the statistic about how many seasons in the Premier League that they've played and compared to ours still blows my mind. But don't forget, I took money off them for that. So listen, does anybody have any other business?
We're under an embargo again.
Oh, have we not spoken about that? Have we not been on the radio since then?
We haven't.
The only other thing is that they've finally taken the Jamie Vardy posters down, which, you know.
You heard it here first. Breaking news. Tell us about the embargo. It's for future financial misgivings, isn't it? It's got a really odd title.
Do you know what? I'm going to throw myself under the bus here. Do you know what? I've done a quick chat GPT and I couldn't even bother to read that. And I know this is going to make me sound like I'm really ill prepared and it's been really busy. But I've just looked at it and gone, embargo. Effectively, what it's saying is that we can't future-proof ourselves under the current regime. The owner of the club can't guarantee that he can pay the players. There's nothing there that we didn't know. It's like, do you know what? We've not pissed you off for a couple of weeks. So here we are to piss you off. Let's give you an embargo.
Boom.
It is what it is. So yeah,
right.
We're there. There's nothing, I don't think, significant that's going to come of it that we didn't already know or that we weren't already faced with. So it's just another one of those hurdles that's been put in the way that we've got to try and overcome in due course, if and when, as and when we get rid of the chairman.
Comments on the embargo is we need an embargo mascot. We'll get one sorted. Holly, can I put you in charge of what animal we're gonna get, like a little cockroach or something? Can we get skin characters? Stevie, your child's gonna be in it, so we need to make it Molly sized or Ash's kid sized. Go on, Ben.
Could we make it like the old guy on the little paperclip and paper on Microsoft Word?
Hey, looks like you're trying to sign a player. Ellie Embargo, my name is. Just click here, and then the best comment of the evening goes to Craig Haywood with more embargoes and Ugbo goals, which you'll never sing that.
More than Sheffield United goals.
Going loco, got another embargo, as Jay Blood's gone. I like that one. I can see that one catching on, actually.
There's got to be an Umbongo old school 80s advert embargo. Drink it in the.
I've been trying to write that for about 6 months, and I'm really struggling.
We're close, aren't we? We're there.
Trying to get the rapping on that one. If only I had a friend that was into hip hop. Anyway, let's move on. Oh God, Matt Strickland's gone with Ugbargo. Shit, that's good. That's absolutely thrown me. That's thrown me.
Get your comments in. What you got?
You reply hashtag Ugbargo.
One more. Have we got something coming up this week?
Is it the Dan Fudge show?
After the Dan Fudge show, which is on.
No, I'm not interested. I don't. Yeah, live at 5 p.m.
We dropped a little bit of a teaser today, didn't we?
Oh shit! That's really important. I was going to make sure I finished on that. Okay, so I'm going to breaking news. We set out the worst teaser in the world because it's pretty obvious what we're going to be doing. This week we're going to be speaking to, he's our striker, he's our number 9, Lee Gregory. We're going to get him on an Owls alumni. We're going to pre-record that, so we're going to get that out at the back end of the week. I'm going to record it after the Dan Fudge show at 5 p.m. on TalkSport 2 every Thursday. So yes, Lee Gregory will be joining us on the show. Big shout out to Simon, who's managed to get that over the line. And I'll be interested to know if you want to tune in when we release that, you'll be able to find out what his protein routine is, how much he can bench, because I'm really interested, because when we had him at Owls in the Yard, I didn't want to stand next to him because it wasn't good for my self-esteem. So listen, thanks a lot, everybody. You've been an absolute pleasure this evening. Thank you to Beth for clipping those clips. Thank you for Holly. Thank you for Stevie. And see you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week. Bringing you football analysis.
They said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you banter.
I don't think anybody wants to listen to my boring anecdotes.
Why not? You've been doing it for 4 years on this show.
I should not have said that. I should not have said that.
This show's like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan. When, hey, you got to play a 4-4-2. Shit.
I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday week. Join us.
Put on your